Welcome to the 2025 VBCC Connect Day, a day of learning where your feedback has shaped our agenda. You asked for true learning sessions, and we're here to deliver. This year, we are committed to elevating your Sage experience and helping you maximize your Sage tools like never before. My name is Kelly Bergman, and I'm excited to introduce you to Johnny Woodward and Nate Belly with Sage, presenting The Road Ahead. That's all I have. So, Nate, Johnny, the floor is yours.
All right, thanks, Kelly. So, hi, everyone. I will be presenting the first half of this session of Sage 100, The Road Ahead. My name is Nate Belhi. I'm the Senior Product Manager for Sage 100. We got some exciting stuff for you. So, the first thing here is, I won't read this all the way through, but we just have our safe harbor statement that acknowledges while we want to do everything we talk about today, priorities can change and features can be added or removed from what you're going to see today. So there can be changes. So just want to point that out before we get started. All right, so before we get into the stuff that's coming up, I'm going to quickly go over things that are available now. So I'm not expecting everyone to necessarily read through all this slide, and I'm not going to cover everything here. But really, it's just letting everyone know that we are still investing in Sage 100. We're doing changes every single year. We're making updates. We're doing enhancements. We're doing new integrations. And things are happening. So you can see in the far right side for the 2025, there's a lot of things that we're doing, plus a last bullet with 20 plus more things on top of that. So some of those Johnny may touch on today, some I may touch on, but others, feel free to check out our release notes for that. So these were our past releases. So I'm sure you're all aware. These were our Sage 100 releases, the major one being in April, and we had our .1 release in July. So a couple things really to highlight some of the things that were on that previous slide. We do have some things that are available now, which I believe Johnny will cover a couple of these. But the first one listed here, I will cover this in a future slide just to give a little bit more detail. But we have Sage Supply Chain Intelligence that's been integrated with. We also, as of more recently, have Sage HR integrated with Payroll Employee Self-Service. On top of that, we have the Sage Intelligence 8.0, which is the newest version of Sage Intelligence, and it's up to date. We have Sage Connect that is available, which is really AR automation. PO request for quotes, which is the ability to create and send RFQs to multiple vendors to find the lowest cost for purchased materials. We have AR invoice number expansion, which was a request on our site that to increase that from 7 characters to 20 characters across the system. We also have another one of UPC or EAN in item maintenance to add a 14-digit field for these codes to be in item maintenance. And many, many more that we have, and feel free to take a look at our release notes for that. So as promised, I'll cover a little bit more in depth as to some of the ones that I talked about just a second ago. So the first one being AR automation, which is a connection with Sage Connect. Just kind of going through this, Sage Connect is an integration for AR automation with customer portal and automated emails. It's easy for customers to understand what they owe and need to pay. It automates that chase process to get that payment, and it's also easy to integrate with and get started, and it doesn't take very long to do that, at approximately 15 minutes. So this is something that is super helpful if you're looking for something to add to your Sage 100 repertoire of features to do an AR automation piece. Another thing that I believe Johnny will talk about and do a demo with later on is Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. This is available now. So this is really connecting supply chain teams, systems, and suppliers with Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. It's one place to manage supply chain with bidirectional integration with Sage 100. So you can collaborate in real time with suppliers, and it includes things like up-to-date purchasing and supply chain insights. And like I said, Johnny will be demoing this to go into more detail here in a little bit. Another one that's fairly new. This one we released in September as a Sage HR integration. So now there is really a employee self-serve capability that Sage 100 has now. So this right now is a free feature. It is an early adopter. And we're excited to get people onboarded with this. So if you're curious, definitely reach out to one of us, and we can help facilitate that, or reach out to your partner. But it's a two-way integration of employee data between Sage 100 and Sage HR, which the free thing with that, which what I was talking about, is the employee self-serve capabilities. So really, somebody can go into the system, update all their payroll stuff, and all their data directly in the system, and it'll be synced back to Sage 100. All right, so now we'll get into future releases. So for our future releases, I really just wanted to highlight our next major release, which is coming in April of 2026, which is our 2026.0 release. A big one for this is we have Sage Copilot coming, specifically focusing initially on search help, and I'll get into that in a moment. But we're also doing other improvements, like a lot serial number improvement, which includes the FSMA traceability. And it's making that expands that from 15 characters to 50 characters, and then also supports the FSMA 204 compliance for food traceability. We're going to have a global federated search that introduces really a centralized tool to be able to search through Sage 100 across multiple modules and the company databases from one single point. We're also doing IRP warehouse groupings, which adds warehouse grouping functionality to support IRP that lets a user define a group code up to 3 characters for that group. And then we also have paperless office consolidated emails. And some of these may look familiar because we do take some of these directly from our ideas site. So if you're not familiar, I would say go and take a look at that, but is where customers can vote on improvements that get done. So as we see things come through that customers want, we make sure to get it done. But that consolidated emails, it really adds the ability to send one consolidated email per customer vendor containing all invoices or documents generated in a specific time frame, rather than an individual email going out for every single document. And on top of that, we have a lot more that we're working on. So stay tuned. So AI has been a big talking point across Sage and what we're doing. So it's kind of going from a help assist to insights to actions. So for what that means for Sage 100 is shorter term, we're looking at doing search help, and we're looking at doing chat analytics. Search help being the ability to jump into and search for anything that you need help with within the system. And it returns an easy to follow step-by-step instructions on how to do that. And then chat analytics would be a similar concept, utilizing a chat bot, but you can ask it for data analytics and it returns those analytics for you. Long term, we want to evolve these offerings to include agentic AI, smart dashboards, and other AI features as AI evolves and our needs evolve. Another way that I kind of like to think about this is, rather than the help assist, data insights, and actions, which is kind of the feature, Rich, we can look at it even higher level. Is one, we want to help to do a job, which is really going to be that search help and analytics. Then we want to do a job, and this would be more of that agentic AI, where you can go in and create an AI that does a specific job that you need. And then we want to do more than a job. So that category really would rely on AI to get insights into your data for recommendations and real-time forecasting and things like that you typically wouldn't get without the use of AI really understanding the data, diving into it, and you don't need to set parameters and forecasting methods in order to do that. So that's kind of what we're looking at with AI. So the ones that we're focusing on for this upcoming release are the Sage Copilot Search Help and Analytics. So this screenshot is actually, hopefully, what that search help is going to look like. We're just about done with it, and we're hoping to release a beta but before the end of 2025, which is really exciting. But in here, what it really is you would go in here, and rather than having to go to help documentation or having to go to anywhere else to figure out how you do something within the product itself, we want one AI cohesive place that you can go in, ask your questions on how do I do this, or how do I print reports, or how do I enter an invoice in AR. And all you have to do is type your question in here, what it does, it goes in and pulls information from all of our help documentation and gives a simple to understand answer and lets you really move forward a lot quicker than you would if you had to go and search through all of our help documentation. For Sage 100, one of our detractors and attractors is ease of use. So for newer customers, Sage 100, there's a lot of functionality in there, so some find it hard to use. So we want to simplify that. And then for more legacy customers, it's easier to use because you get used to it. But this is really something that as even new features come out that you can search how to do something, and it's really what we're targeting. Like I was saying earlier, as a follow-up to this, it would be chat analytics, kind of within the same type of window. So it would allow you to not only ask the how do I do something, but also what are my top customers based on revenue, or any other thing related to your data that you would want to be able to ask it and get analytics on. So really exciting stuff coming for AI, and really excited to keep building that for you all. So just at a high level, this is our product roadmap going into Q2 and further of 2026. I just cut it off at that 2026.0 release in April. So you can see a couple of the things that we've already delivered are in the light green there, which includes that Sage HR, includes the SSCI general availability. But one thing, like I was talking about before the end of this year, we really want to get that Copilot search help out as a beta that everyone can start using. After that, in Q1, we're going to be just heads down, focused on all the other enhancements that we're doing to get a major release done in April. So, key takeaways for this. One, I want everyone to know that Sage is continuing to invest in the growth and capabilities of Sage 100. Sage 100 isn't going away. So make sure that you know that we are investing, and make sure that you're even checking out the ideas site to give your thoughts on what new enhancements can be, because we absolutely look at that site to see what our customers want to see in the product and make those enhancements. The next thing is what I covered kind of on maybe the third slide. It's upgrading to the latest version may provide significant efficiencies and new capabilities. We do add new things as we go. Every year in our major release, we're adding a lot of new features. In our .1 releases, we're adding fixes, we're adding all kinds of new stuff. And even outside of our releases, like what we're doing with Sage Search or Sage Copilot Search Help, it's happening outside of our release because we want to continuously get our customers the newest things, the best things, and make their experience with Sage 100 awesome. So those are our two takeaways. So now we will have a demo, and that will happen by Johnny Woodward. So Johnny, go ahead, take it away.
All right, thank you, Nate. Again, my name is John Woodward. I'm a field sales engineer here at Sage. I have been at Sage somehow for over 26 years at this point. I started in the support department, supporting Sage 100. I spent about 5 years there. I jumped ship a little bit, worked with the Sage 500 product line for a couple of years, and then came back over and have been working with Sage 100 ever since in this role as a sales engineer. And I didn't start with Sage 100 at Sage. I actually was an end user of Sage. Those of you who have been around a long time, when it was Mass 90, and even back to Mass 90 evolution to DOS is what I started using in 1994. So 31 years of working with Sage 100, and I've seen it many changes, from the name change from Mass 90 to Sage 100, and from DOS to Windows, and many more features and updates to the system. So I'm just going to reiterate, and I know there's another session today that will maybe give you kind of a preview, and maybe when in that next session you can be ready to ask questions or more questions about it. But I'm going to recap kind of what was added in the 2025 release, as well as touch base and give you a high-level overview of that new offering, that new integration with Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. So give me just a moment here to make my share. So I don't know if Kelly, if you can confirm you're seeing my screen.
Yep, we can see your install.
Okay, I just want to make sure before I proceed. All right, so again, regarding that idea site. So Nate mentioned sharing your ideas. If you think of a way, or you have an idea that would make Sage 100 better for you, and if it's going to make it better for you, it's most likely will make it better for other customers, because again, you can't be the only one that thinks, that needs a feature or functionality. So just to kind of give you an idea, there's multiple places where you can access that idea site. So on my screen here, I see 3 different places, and I'll get to point them out here. So from the help screen, a note here, um, submit product idea, uh, share your ideas, and share your ideas here. So on one screen, there's 3 different places where you have the ability to access that portal where you can submit your ideas. So I'm going to go in here real quick, and I've actually already launched that here. So here's what that looks like. Now, what's great here is not only can you suggest an idea for a product enhancement for Sage 100, you can actually search for, has someone else already submitted an idea, or if you have an idea to make Sage 100 better, you can go submit that, but you can search for and vote. So you'll notice here 1 vote, 3 votes. So you can actually, again, search for things, review these things, and vote for them. Submit your idea and say, yes, hey, I like that idea, please add that. And so you can see here, the latest, maybe, hot votes here, 23, the things that are getting voted for, what is on the roadmap that they have basically identified as things that are going, we're going to try to get added to the system, and the completed things. Again, those things that have been added, I believe, customer master file needs a field for the date of last sale, last invoice, and the date. RFQs. So those are things that were submitted as ideas and have now been added to the system. So again, please come in and tell us what would make Sage 100 better for you, and search for and vote for the things that other people have submitted as ideas. Again, you are the most important people to Sage, and it's a big, vibrant community of people, various industries. So by all means, please utilize this feature to let us know what we can do to make Sage 100 better. And one thing, a little hint here is, if you can have, when you submit that idea, have the business reason, not just, hey, add this field, tell us why, how that would help, because I think that business reason is one of those key things that will help Nate kind of translate that need to our engineers, so they'll be able to successfully implement that into the system. So again, please utilize the system. And again, as far as where to find it, you can go to the help tab, and again, submit your ideas. And again, even on that information center, share your ideas. And again, down here, share your ideas. So multiple easy ways to find and access that to review, submit, and vote for what you would like to see in Sage 100. Now, with regards to what's new, so again, one thing I point out here is when products updates have been made available, you'll see here, what's new, 0.1 and 0.3 here are available. That will take you to the Sage community to give you information, access to download. Again, that may be something you want to talk to your specific consultant about, because you may have some, may not just go download and update those. You want to check to make sure that it's compatible with any solutions or add-ons that you may have in your system. So, but you can at least know it's there and reach out to your consultant to see if this is something that can be applied to your system. Now, another thing that's very nice is, if you get to a new version, or, hey, I'm not quite sure, maybe I'm missing something new, notice here from the help tab, what's new. This will be a detailed listing. So again, I've installed 25.1, so this gets updated to tell me what was added with that .1 release. And then you can even scroll down here and see kind of by module. So desktop enhancements, how has the desktop changed? What enhancements kind of affect everything? Module specifics, again, this will detail everything that was added or new in this specific version. So again, there's places you can go find this online, but it's built right into the system to let you know what is new in your system. So again, help, what's new, and you'll get this itemized listing of exactly what has been added. So again, there may be modules you don't use, but you can hone in on those ones. If you're inventory management, you can click on that and hey, that's great. I needed that. I've been waiting for that. That's new. I can start using that. So that is the way you can kind of determine for the version you're working with what is actually new in your system. Now, I do want to say if you're on an older version, that may be in a different place. It may be under web content resources, but I believe 2024 and beyond, it would be on the help tab, what's new. Now, getting into the specific things that were added, I'm going to start with expanded invoice numbers. So that is something like, I don't know if you're familiar with, we added expanded inventory items way back. So this is something that you would go in and set up in common information under common information options. So notice here, invoice numbers and accounts receivable, sales order, and job cost are identified by a unique number up to 20 characters. So I believe was just 7 or 9 characters before. And what's nice here is you don't have to, if you don't want 20, maybe you just want 10, you can actually specify the maximum length that you need. You don't have to go all the way up to 20 if you don't need 20. But maybe 7 is not enough. Maybe you need 10, maybe you need 12, 15, as you can see here. You can set how many characters you need in your invoices for AR, sales order. And again, it is for all those modules. So if you're using all 3, you can't have different lengths per module, but you can set the maximum length for invoices that will, again, carry across AR, sales order, and job costing. Now, once this is set, for example, if I increase this, I have data entry in process, it will essentially ask me if I want to go, because I'll have existing invoices in history, it'll ask me if it wants to go essentially add the characters to the ones in history. So if I had 7 characters and I go to 15, it would go into invoice history and pad that with zeros to make that, 15 characters. Now, if you're not quite ready to do that yet, you can go ahead and set that and not choose to do that. And that can be something that's done later. So you'll see here, I'm going to say file run. And there is a utility that has been added to essentially launch that functionality. So you see here this AR invoice conversion utility. This would essentially launch, and I may get that little error message again because I have data entry in process, but it will essentially, once all your invoices are updated, et cetera, and you don't have anything kind of in process, it will go through and again add zeros and kind of pad those existing older numbers with the shorter invoice number. So again, that can be done at the time of setting the new length or can be done later again. So maybe you again have data entry, you need to get the data entry cleared out and updated, and then you can always run that invoice expansion later through the utility. Now, some other things that have been added is audit tracking to both sales orders and purchase orders. You do have to enable that. So under sales order, for sales orders, you need to enable that. Sales order options on the history tab. Notice here sales order audit, and I'm choosing to track. You can say none or all, and I'm guaranteeing you most of you will want to track that in detail. So again, it's just a matter of enabling all and tracking in detail. And once you do that, what's nice is, again, I've turned that on. So if I go now if sales orders are changed, I will have an audit trail. I can go see, well, what was the original quantity? What was the original price? So I'm sure you've encountered that problem was who changed that? What was the original sales order amount? What was the quantity? How did this get changed? Who changed it? So in sales order entry and inquiry, I'm just going to pull up a sales order that I entered earlier today. So again, sales order, I'm going to pull up my last sales order number here. And this little button here, note here is the audit viewer. And I'm just going to pull this over here so you can see added or changed. I'm going to go to, essentially, this was when it was created and essentially changed. And then this drill down viewer will actually allow me to see, and I'll just expand this to full screen, original value, 84, new value, quantity ordered, changed from 1 to 10. That essentially they qualify for a better price. So the price went from 84 to 77. So you had that very detailed tracking. So you, if an order is changed, who changed it, what changed, quantity, pricing, all of that will be captured. And again, I'm looking at a screen here, but note here, I do have the ability to print this. So this can be printed in a report format as well. And similarly to sales order, you can enable, again, if I go to purchase order options, history, and again, purchase order changes to track. Again, I'm saying all and track in detail. And then if I go to a purchase order or an inquiry, again, who made the change to this PO? What was the original price or cost? Kind of a similar functionality here. Again, I'll just pull up an example, drill into changed. And again, just like in sales order, you have that complete history of what changed. So we had an original quantity of 100, it was increased to 150, and our original cost was 29, and it went down to 26.20. And again, who made that change? Which user entered that change? So I think that I know this is something that has been needed for quite a while with regards to tracking changes. So now you will have that, who made the change, when, what changed, quantity, pricing, cost, regards to sales order, purchase order. Now in 2025, you can enable that functionality. Again, turn it on and then say track in detail. So you have all of that will be captured. So you can drill down to who changed it, when it was changed, what was the original value, what's the new value. That will all be captured and available for you to see. Now, there's also something as far as I know, I guess this was another thing that came from the idea site, that if you are processing invoices and you are working with tracking numbers, it was a little hard to kind of to track, to copy. So a tracking number. So notice here, this little button would automatically grab a copy tracking number to clipboard. So if you need to get that tracking number and paste it to different places, you have this quick and easy button to grab that tracking number to the clipboard so you can paste in other places. So again, that was something that was an idea from the idea site that has now been implemented in the system. And going forward, AP invoice selection. This is a result, and I think this is kind of a funny story that I'm going to, I was telling Kelly about this earlier. We implement things and again, based on suggestions from customers. And this is one of those things that we made a change in the 2024 release that actually kind of took functionality away that people may have liked. So we had an idea submitted and we had a lot of votes for it and people liked it. So I'm going to go ahead and go into select, and it does involve the selection process. So in 2024, we introduced this version where you can essentially come in and make individual check boxes and select the invoices that you want to pay. So again, I can view and check. Now, when this was implemented, what happened was you used to be able to do shift select or control select. So maybe you had two of these that you wanted to select, you wanted to skip one. So you could do multiple selections at once with shift select or control select. And that went away with the checkboxes. So when that rolled out, and we took away that functionality that people had been used to, we heard from you. So essentially now, if you like this new version with the checkboxes, you have that option. But notice this little button down here, the switch view. With this option, I now get that older view where I can use control to select, different ones. Or if I use shift select, I can select a range. So it just gives you the ability to go, I like the checkboxes. It just clearly shows me which ones have been selected. So again, you can have that view and use the checkboxes. Or if you prefer and need to do, I want two of these and one of these, I want to skip 5 and go down and select 3. That gives you the ability to utilize, again, by switching view, that older version where you can, again, do multiple selections at once. And then use go back to the check boxes if you want. So that, again, was based on, we implemented a change and it didn't work for everyone. So we in this version, we kind of added it back. So you have either version and you have that switch view option. So let's go on to customer stats. So again, this was from the idea side. Again, I think I read that in the idea side as a completed item. So in this instance, it was just the addition of on the statistics tab here. Let me just go one more here. We have the last invoice date and last invoice amount that has been added. Again, I think that was something that was available in vendors, and now it's available for customers. So again, just a quick look at that last invoice date and last invoice amount that's been added to that screen. And this is a custom tab. It's not something new. I just want to point that out. So that's just a UDF thing that I added to my system. So let me go through, and one other thing is on inventory. Now, this is something I think that business partners and customers have been utilizing and been able to do by creating a custom field or a user-defined field to house or have a place to put a UPC code or EAN code. But now what you'll see is, let me just pull up an item record here on the additional tab. The UPC EAN is now standard item, an item field. And essentially what you're able to do here is select the type, UPC AE, EAN codes, and then you can specify that, and it's again, you don't have to go and define a user-defined field and add it to the screen. That is standard now. So going forward, I think this is a great thing, particularly in the cost environment that we're in now, the ability to create a request for quote and be able to send that out to multiple vendors. I know some industries, you just have a vendor and that's your vendor, but some industries are very cost and price sensitive, and you need to get the very best price you can to maintain your margins. So this is functionality. So what I'm going to do is just say next PO number. And much like in, like say, if you're familiar with sales order, where you can create a quote to send to a customer and then promote that to an order when they accept it, what you have the ability to do is use the drop-down box here and note here, quote. So essentially, I'm going to pull in a vendor. So again, this is something that I can create and send to multiple vendors. So I'm going to just start with Compact Corporation here, and note, so I am tagging a vendor on the header, but notice the little button here. So this is where I can then come in and say, I want to send this request for a quote to multiple vendors. So this is where I'm able to come in and say, I want to get a quote from these specific vendors. Let me just do a few more here. And then of course, I can go to the lines and say, you know, what items I am looking to get a quote for. I'll just do a couple of lines. Go back to the header. And it will, they did create, now notice quote ready to generate. I'm going to just hit the printer icon. So a new, of course, form type has been created, because you don't want to send them a PO if you're doing a request for quote. I'm going to preview. Oops, that's not the one I was looking for. There is a specific request for quote. I don't know why I didn't get it there. I may have skipped a step here. Let me get back to my PO that I was, the quote that I entered. Oh, here we go. Generate from quote. Now, another thing too, I'm going to take one step back. I think one thing you will be able to do here is, let's say I have this specific, maybe they're not the one who won that. so what I would do is essentially go in and override that with the one who actually won the bidding. And then I would say generate the order. So that is the process. Again, notice you change the primary vendor for the quote. So again, this would be basically saying this is the vendor that won. So again, you would be able to select multiple vendors, send that out. When you decide who had given you the best price, you would override the vendor on the header and say ready to generate and generate the order. And that would promote that quote to an order. And again, you can go into paperless office to deliver that PO to the vendor. But I think this is great functionality, specifically when we're talking about, this challenging cost environment where everything's a little bit more expensive and margins are challenged. That gives you the ability to easily create one document, send that out to multiple vendors, decide who actually gives you the best, override the vendor on the header tab with the vendor who gave you the best price, and go ahead and promote that from a quote to an order for that winning vendor. Now, the other thing, again, now I'm going to get out of Sage 100 specifically, Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. So this is I know I've heard kind of a misinterpretation or misunderstanding of exactly what it does. I want to go ahead and tell you it is not a replacement for Sage Inventory Advisor. So Sage Inventory Advisor is specifically looking at inventory items like reorder points and safety stock and vendor performance. Now you'll get some vendor performance here, but this is not a replacement for Sage Inventory Advisor. This is really about extending purchase order. And I'll say, again, depending on the nature of your purchasing environment. So I just was involved in a demo of the product and just kind of give you an idea of who, and they sound like they were thrilled with it, with what they saw. They were a cosmetics company that had a contract manufacturer that they issued purchase order for manufacturing, and they were issuing purchase orders for raw materials from around the world. So they had many, like I believe $400 million in purchase orders per year, in purchasing per year. So a lot of purchase orders. And because of the international nature, they would issue a PO and things would be delayed in shipping, and they would have to. So it really comes down to I'm sorry about my German shepherds in the background there. I gave them some hoofs to chew on, but didn't keep them quiet. Apologize for that. So again, this is for kind of a complex purchasing environment. Again, just kind of depends. This is not going to be for everyone, but if you have multiple vendors and that time sensitive, and let's say POs get issued and maybe they're coming from overseas and something happens and the delivery date slips and you need to see where a container is out on the water, and you need to collaborate with your vendor, and or if your vendor is a contract manufacturer, has production started, has production stalled, what's the production delivery date, is it ready for shipping, things of that nature. So it's for, let's say, a complex purchasing environment. I'm going to go ahead and launch that. So it is a web-based product. First thing I want to do is I'm going to kind of show you. Now, what will happen is there's a connector. So a connector is installed locally on your, essentially on your Sage 100 server. So in this instance, I'm linked to one of my specific companies. You can see here it's connected. And then it essentially, it's not a real-time integration, i.e. as soon as I enter something in Sage 100, it is immediately updated and available in Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. It is based on, essentially, you see here sync frequency. I have the sync set to every 2 hours. Now, what's nice here is that is editable. You can set that between 1 and 24 hours, so I can have it update and sync every hour, every 2 hours, or at, maybe I just want it once at a specific time of day. And let's say maybe I have it set initially for 2 hours. But let's say I go in and do a PO, a big, huge batch of new POs, and I want to make sure that those new POs get into that portal. I can always come in and say sync now and kind of initiate that sync to basically say, I want to synchronize what's in Sage 100 and Sage Supply Chain Intelligence right now. So let's go ahead and just sync now. So that is kind of how and then the information is kind of mapped between the two. And if I need maybe I have a second company that I want to add, I would just come in or add entity. And this is where essentially I would be able to say which company I want to link and its synchronization frequency. So in Sage 100, so that link I would still use Sage 100 to enter purchase orders. So any purchase order that I enter in Sage 100 can then be synchronized and pulled up into Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. So let me actually come up here. Let me think. I think I actually have that already launched. So here's that portal. So again, in this environment, you can kind of see here, I have a dashboard that I can customize, 10 active orders, 9 open orders, 2 suppliers active, no RFQs, ship dates, updates needed, requested date, order details. So again, in a very complex information, this gives you your purchasing people that can log in and kind of see, what do I need to do? What's going on? Do I have delays? And the great thing here is, notice is workflows. You can actually configure workflows based on your production or your purchase workflows, if you will. So let me kind of drill in to kind of show you. And this really gets into, like, say, again, if you have a contract manufacturer who is manufacturing products for you, notice here milestones. So you can define your workflow from start to finish. Did they accept the PO? When is production due to start? When does production end? Cargo ready, shipment, delivery received. So again, this is just kind of a sample. But again, if you have that complex environment where you not only need to, again, I'm going to kind of take a step back. In purchase order, Sage 100 purchase order standard, I can email the vendor the PO, but there's no, do I know if they accepted it? So this gives you kind of that ability to kind of see, okay, this PO has been accepted. And not only can you have a team of people assigned to specific milestones, let this person know, or someone is assigned to this vendor or PO, you can actually invite your vendors to collaborate with you. So I know in some of the discussions I've had with customers, they have vendors that would never do this, that would never kind of collaborate with them, but they have vendors that they would absolutely would collaborate and that they would trust. So that would kind of free up their time to kind of where they need to handhold vendors and work with them a lot, but the other vendors can collaborate with them and provide them updates on, yes, production started, production is finished, we're packing and shipping, your cargo's ready, it's being loaded on the trailer, it's being loaded on the ship. So you'd have that ability to kind of see that and get those updates directly from your vendors. Now I'm going to go into just kind of open orders and kind of show you. I can, again, any PO that is created in Sage 100 would be pulled in here. So you can kind of see I have POs that the 00s were POs that were created in Sage 100 and pulled up. And these A ones were created directly in Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. So I can create new POs. So if I needed to create a PO here, I would just say add order, and that would give me the ability to create a PO here. Now I'm kind of learning as a best practice. If you have vendors and you have vendor pricing based on quantities that you're buying, you would need to create that. That is not integrated. The pricing structures for vendors are not pulled into. It will pull the last cost from Sage 100. So it has that available. But if you have detailed vendor pricing based on quantity you buy, you would want to create that PO in Sage 100. So your pricing would be applied, and then you can bring that in. So one thing I want to point out here is, notice if I go to draft POs, and I'm going to just clean out my filter here and remove So any PO that comes from Sage 100, notice this draft status. So they haven't been submitted to the vendor. You may have emailed that, but it hasn't been recognized and been submitted to the vendor at this point. So I'd be able to come in here and drill into the specific PO. And this is kind of, again, where the workflow starts. You'll kind of see the workflow engine here, as far as milestones, you're about all set to create the PO, change the workflow, or issue the purchase order. So that draft status kind of means, okay, it hasn't been submitted to the vendor yet. So I can say issue purchase order, and notify collaborators. So again, the vendor, anybody on the team, i.e. the people who need to know that you've issued this PO. So when I hit send, again, I'm able to send that directly to the vendor. And what's nice here is when the vendor can actually, again, if they're collaborating with you, would be able to accept that PO in the portal, and that PO acceptance would be updated. Notice confirming that PO, the vendor confirming and accepting that PO would update here automatically. And you can kind of see here the team, my team that is working, that is available and can utilize this tool. So again, just wanted to give you a high level look. Again, there's different views, your Sage 100 inventory. So as far as creating, I'll just go ahead and do that, create. So I say add order. So all the vendors, so some just say individual order here. So all of the vendors created in Sage 100. So these are my Sage 100 vendors. So they're all available here. So it will integrate and pull in your vendors from Sage 100, your ship to locations, shipping methods. So again, I'm going to just say truck in this instance. And then if I come down here, the main thing again, and your inventory items. So it's a little different here as far as the part name is kind of the description, and then the part number is the part number from Sage 100, but you definitely have that ability to create a PO here as well. Now, even the POs created here will synchronize back to Sage 100. So if I kind of minimize this and go back to Sage 100, I'm going to just change my company here real quick to a, might get an error on that. But what will happen is it will, I think I know a way I can show you. So give me just 1 second here. Let me go to PO, and I'm going to go to Explorer, and I'm going to go to, let me just change my company to CBA. The POs that were created in SSCI have an A appended to the purchase order number. So if I scroll down here, or if I just change my sort here, let me go back up to the top. So you see these A numbers. These were POs that had been created directly in Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. So I do have the ability to create a PO there, and that will be pulled back down to Sage 100. And again, all of my other POs would again be synchronized to Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. So again, this is, it's probably more for complex purchasing environments where dates and things are changing. I know the specific demo that I was involved in, they had a team of about 5 purchasing people that had to keep track of changes in delivery dates and shipping dates and tracking containers and delays. So they had all these spreadsheets that had to be manually updated with changes, and then that had to go back and be updated manually in the Sage 100. So they're just spending all this time maintaining these updates, where Sage Supply Chain Intelligence automates all that manual tracking and changes that they were doing with regards to the purchasing process. So again, that was just a quick look at Sage Supply Chain Intelligence. If you have any interest in that, just let Kelly or your consultant know. I believe Kelly said that they had become certified in that, but I do have resources that I can get them with to get you a detailed demo if you need to. But Kelly, that kind of, is there any questions?
No, we don't have any questions. If you have any follow-up questions, I'll be sure to get them to Johnny.
So I hope this has been useful and informative to you. So again, do go and use that idea site. Let us know what you need to see. And again, I believe that you're going to have a chance to kind of drill into and probably have a little more time for each of those enhancements. I believe that's the next session for
Mm-hmm.
what Kelly was telling me. So hopefully that kind of got your attention and you made notes, and now you know to pay more attention in the next session and maybe those questions will come when you get to see that again. You can drill into those questions in more detail.
We really want to keep everybody up to date on what's coming out. So really focusing on that. I would also like to thank Johnny and Nate both for their time today. Nate, I really appreciate your time. I know you're not feeling a little bit under the weather. And I'd also like to thank all the attendees. I know your time is valuable, and we sure do appreciate that you're choosing to spend a little bit of it with us. So hope to see you again, maybe at the next session. With that, everybody have a great day.